Hello and welcome to my video on the 2003 game 13. Not to be confused with the remake. I think was that like 2010, maybe more recent, which had terrible reviews on Steam, so I avoided that and went for the original. I saw it on Steam sale for £1.60. That's English pounds. I don't know what that is in any other currency. Obviously, a game of this age, I always come to this site to see if it's even playable, how difficult it is to get it working, and whether I have to download unofficial patches, which I try to avoid and often won't end up buying that game. But I did read that you could override the INI file to put in a resolution. So I decided to go for the game and try that method. It actually worked, but I thought there was an issue with the game, and I'll explain that when I get into the game. So I ended up coming back here, trying the patch in the end. So you go to this site, click on this link, take you to another website. To be fair, that site was pretty straightforward. There was no annoying pop-ups. Link there, just let me download it straight away. It was 26 megabyte file. It's an installer, and yeah, it was not ideal. I'm a bit funny about this sort of stuff. So I don't know the difference between the two options. I do know this only works if you've got the game already installed, like a GOG version or a Steam version, which I have. So I chose this option. There wasn't any instructions of where to install it, but I just used my initiative and installed it in the actual game file, and it seemed to work okay. So I recommend trying that option. And then you get a couple more options about a screen ratio and some multiplayer stuff. And it was pretty straightforward, and it didn't flag up any antivirus warnings or anything like that. So that's all good. This is Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common Game. The INI file is replaced when you install that 1.4 patch, but it's still the same, still in the same place. Under System folder. I don't know if any of this writing is changed with the installation of the 1.4 unofficial patch. But this was all so this is where the resolution thing is. It's really low, and my monitor wouldn't have any of it. It just shut down basically. So I put this in, and it did work. I can't see anything else regarding refresh rate or frame rate or anything like that. It appears to be running at 65 frames per second, going by the Steam counter, but my graphics card matrix was running at like 2 frames per second, but it obviously wasn't. So something's going on there, obviously just a compatibility thing because it's so old. I did initially change this to true, and I got some controller support, but then I ended up enabling the Steam controller support because I had problems with that, and I put this back to false, but it's still like two of them are working together in the game. Anyway, I'll try and explain that. But yeah, so I actually enabled this one, and then I amended the D-pad buttons to some keys so I could map some buttons I think they weren't working or they were missed in that profile. I don't know. There are absolutely no graphic settings that I could find. I don't know if there are any in that INI file you can play around with. This is it, and that's grayed out. These are the controls. That controller profile had sensitivity about 52%, and I've got that about there, and it seems to be working okay. I find that a lot with those older games using Steam templates. Obviously the controller, the analog sticks are mimicking the mouse movement, and it's never perfect, but to be fair, it doesn't seem to be working too badly in this game. So it will let me map my controller button still if I went to overwrite one of these, and I encounter problems with the analog sticks and the triggers. It will acknowledge both triggers as one. So if I put the right trigger in here, it would acknowledge it, but then when I put it in the left one in there, it would think it's the right one. And the same with this, it would acknowledge the analog stick as an axis, and you could put it in there, but when you go to put it backwards, it would think it's the same one. So I don't know if you can get it working natively. It seems like there's definitely some sort of controller support built into the game, and maybe with a bit of tinkering and so better know-how than I have, it would work. I don't know. Yeah, so the funny thing is, this is what I was greeted with when I first started the game prior to the patch. And I thought something was wrong. I thought this can't possibly be right. I know it's an old game, but that just, something is not right there. And then I did a little research, and I see some comments about the beginning of the game being blurry. It's almost unplayable. But if you notice, the health isn't, and then very briefly it goes normal on that helicopter just before it goes out of sight. And this bit is just, it's even worse. So I was just thinking, oh, this just cannot be right. I don't know how well this is coming across, but yeah, it's borderline unplayable. See, and then it goes normal for a bit, and I still don't know if this is a bug or if this is actually how the game is meant to be. But obviously I thought something's wrong, so I download the patch. I reluctantly downloaded the patch, installed it, come back to the game, and it was the same. And then I just let it run for a bit, and you'll see that it actually sorts itself out. I don't know, or if that's just how it's meant to be. And then all of a sudden, there you go. It's focused and it's normal. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if that's actually how the game is meant to be. So obviously it's got a unique graphic style. And I think that sort of helps that it's aged, not as bad as some games of its time. You might have to play around with the sensitivity a bit to get the right analog stick working as you would wish. As I said earlier, it's actually one of the better Steam enabled controller support games that I've played, but you can still tell the difference between native controller support and an analog stick that's mimicking a mouse. It's I don't know, it's just really sharp, and of course, because there's no controller support, there's no built-in sort of aim assist of any sort. Yeah, to be fair, it runs okay. There's no stuttering. I mean, all the time I've been playing around with it, like getting the controllers set up was just really fiddly, but it's not crashed. The graphics aren't terrible. I thought you could go in one of these hutches. See the graphics on that. This is as far as I've actually played it, and I feel like there's a setting or something that Yeah, those little boxes that are popping up, I don't know if it's coming across, but the graphics are like it was at the beginning. Just, I don't, yeah. I just feel that something, all is not well. So that is literally, I can't even make that out. Not sure where these people are just coming from. I'm not sure where I'm meant to be going. Nearly dead though. Oh, so I was collecting health, but nothing's happening. Another helicopter. Okay, I think I'll leave that there then. Unfortunately, I can't do a comparison without the patch. All I can say is it will run if you override the original INI file that's installed when you download the game off Steam. I don't know about screen ratio or field of view or what happens, because obviously that's not making it widescreen, you're just overriding the resolution. I know that patch does put in some sort of screen ratio thing, so maybe it has done something. I don't know if there's bugs and other things that are going on with the original one without the patch. But yeah, it seems playable.